Let's talk about the best of the worst for Dominaria United Commander. This is the top 3 cards that are seeing adoption in 1% or less of decks since the release of that set. In the number 3 spot, we've got Torsten, Founder of Benelia. For 5 green and a white, we get a 7/7 legendary creature, Human Soldier. When Torsten, Founder of Benelia, enters the battlefield, reveal the top 7 cards of your library, put any number of creature and or land cards from among them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. When Torsten dies, create 7 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. Torsten has a very powerful enters the battlefield ability. Sort of reminds me of New Atraxa, except for you want specifically creatures in your deck. You probably want around 40 creatures in the deck before this becomes excellent, but once you're there, you're off to the races. It's especially underutilized in Blink decks and in Aristocrats decks. Those decks are already going to be filled with a lot of creatures, and they can take advantage of these triggers. In the number 2 slot, we have Philagi Wayfarer. For 2 and a green, we get a 2/4 creature, Human Scout. Philagi Wayfarer is all colors. This ability doesn't affect its color identity. Multicolored spells you cast have Convoke. Philagi Wayfarer is really interesting, but it does ask a lot for you, so that may be why it's not seeing a lot of play. It does ask you to both go wide and have a lot of multicolored spells in your deck, but once you're there, I think this card is absolutely worth it and probably the best card in the deck. Taking the top slot, we have Tiller Engine. It's 2 mana for a 1/3 artifact creature construct. Whenever a land enters the battlefield tapped under your control, choose one. Untap that land, or tap target non-land permanent an opponent controls. So saying Tiller Engine is in 1% of decks is a little misleading because it's colorless. So it can go in a lot more decks than the other cards on the list. But that being said, I still think this card is underutilized. If you're out there running a budget mana base or doing something cool with caves or gates, then Tiller Engine is going to end up being one of the best cards in your deck. And if you're having lands that enter the battlefield untapped, you can always choose the other option and slow down your opponents or remove some blockers for a turn. Tiller Engine is just going to be excellent in those style of decks. And those are the best of the worst for Dominaria United Commander. Do you have any experience with these cards, positive or negative? Would you consider them for your current or future decks? Let me know.